Today we are going to discuss the various control flow statements in Java. The first one is if statement, if statement, and the syntax of if is if condition. You have the set of statements. Okay, you can have a single statement or a set of statements. That means here the condition is evaluated, and depending on this condition evaluates either true or false. That means, for example, you can have a condition like a less than b or b equal to a, etc. These are conditional expressions, and this condition is evaluated, and if this is true, then this sequence of statements are executed. Otherwise, uh, suppose that the next statement is this, then if this condition fails, then control is transferred to the next statement after this. That is if statement. For example, you can have a statement like if a less than b, a equal to 0 and b equal to 0, etc. That means this is the statement after this if statement. Here what this does is a less than b is evaluated. If a is less than b, then this is true, otherwise it is false. If a is less than b, then a is assigned a value 0, and after that it will execute b equal to 0 and like that. And if a less than b evaluates to false, then this statement is skipped and control is transferred to the next statement after this. Next statement is if else. Here the syntax of this statement is if condition, you have to execute a sequence of statements, else this executing these set of statements. That means if initially this condition is evaluated, and if this condition is true, it will execute this set of statements, otherwise it is executing this set of statements. For example, if a less than b, a equal to 0, else b equal to 0. That means if a is less than b, we are executing a equal to 0. Otherwise, suppose that a less than b returns false, then this else clause is executed. Okay, that is if else. Now the next one is nested if else. Nested if else. Nested if else if. For example, the sequence is like this: if condition, statements set 1, else if condition. Here this is condition 2, this is condition 1, condition 2, statements 2, else if condition 3, statements 3, etc. else statement n. So here, if this condition is satisfied, if this condition 1 is satisfied, then it will execute this sequence of statements 1. And suppose that this condition 1 fails, what it does is this else clause is executed, and if condition 2 is true, then this sequence of statements are executed. And if this condition also fails, then it is evaluating this condition, and if it is true, then this sequence of statements are executed. And likewise, if all these condition fails, finally it will execute this set of statements. That means you can have this if else condition can be nested to any length, any level. Okay, that means this is nested if else. Okay. Now, next one is switch. That means if you want to have multi-level branching, for example, from suppose that your program is coming executed and it is coming to at a point, and suppose that if you want to have multi-way branching here, that means from this point you want to have multiple branches. For example, suppose that in a program at a point for the age group 1 to 20, you want to have some processing or consider our vaccination, and here 1 to 18 is a class and 18 to 45 is another class, and then 46 19 to 45, 19 to 45 is another class, 46 to 60 another class, and 60 plus is another class. And suppose that you are processing this, and when you are processing, if the age group is in between 1 to 18, then it forms a different class and a different processing is needed. And for 19 to 25, some other set is there. From 46 to 60, some other set of some other processing is needed, and likewise. And at a point in time, and here you have to branch to four different. That means for each age group, you need a different set of program, a different set of statements. Okay. Now, if it is 1 to 18, then you have to branch to this way, and if it is 19 to 45, you have to take this path. 46 to 60, you have to take this path, and 60 plus you have to take this. Okay, and after that, from this joining at this point, and you can have it like this. Okay. Now, for this type of multiple branching, can use switch statements. Switch. For example, switch expression case value 1. You have a set of statements here, a break, case value 2, have a set of statements, break, and likewise last one is default. We have a set of statements, that is the end of this. Here you should note that here this expression is evaluated. First of all, switch expression, and that expression is evaluated, and one condition is there. This expression should evaluate either int, byte, long, or short, or character. That means this expression, when it is evaluated, that expression should return either of these values. Either it should be an integer, byte, long, short, or character. That means these are all integer values and this is character. That means this expression should return either an integer value or a character. And depending on that expression, suppose that this expression is returning an integer value. So, example, suppose that a particular expression returns 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose that this expression returns 1, 2, 3, 4. Then here we are going to write case 1. So that means when this expression evaluates to 1, then case 1 you have a set of statements, then these set of statements are executed. Here, suppose that case 2, these sequence of statements are executed. Case 3, some other set of statements are executed. Case 4, some other set of statements are executed. That means depending on the evaluated expression, that expression evaluates to an integer value in this case, and depending on the integer value, here you can have case 1, case 2, case 3, etc. And if it is case 1, what will happen? It will execute this set of statements, and if it is case 2, this set of statements. If it is case 3, some other set of statements, etc. etc. Anyway, control is transferred. If it is case 1, control is transferred to this point, and it will execute sequence of statements, and as the last statement you should have a break statement. Otherwise, if you are not breaking here, what will happen? It will execute these set of statements. Suppose that if you don't have a break statement here, after executing this set of statements, it will process this and process this, etc. etc. That means that is the for case 1. That means if this expression evaluates to 1, then you have to execute these set of statements, and then now you have to skip. If you want to skip all other pieces, then here you should have a break. Okay, break. And break statement we'll discuss later. Anyway, case 1, case 2, etc. Okay. For example, suppose that switch say A, depending on the value of A, we are going to have say case 0, case 1, case 2, and finally default. Here case 1 is if switch A, case 0, if the value of A is 0, then B assigned equal to 1, break. Here B assigned equal to 2, break. Here B assigned equal to 3, break. And here B equal to 0. Okay. Here depending on A is evaluated, and depending on the value of A, if A is 0, then the B is assigned a value 1, and then breaking means it will go to this location. That means after this we will execute the next statement after this. If the value of A is 1, what will happen? B is assigned a value 2, and then it is breaking, and it is executing this set of statements after that. If A is 2, what will happen? B is assigned a value 3 and then breaking. And suppose that A is not 0, 1 or 2. That means for all other cases, that is called default. Default means if it is 0, 1 or 2, this set of statements are executed, and any other value other than 0, 1 or 2, that means the values which are not specified here, you will take default and then B assigned equal to 0. And there is no need to have a break statement, because after this we will execute this statement. And this is an example of switch statements. Anyway, at this point in time, you should note that that expression should return either an integer value or a character value. Okay.